Yo, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Tkgoated here, and welcome back to another video. Today, we about to react to my boy, trust me, bro, and it's called Historical Facts That Mess With Your Perception of Time. Man, I'm not even gonna lie. There was one that I seen recently about Martin Luther King and who was it? Martin Luther King and yeah, it was Martin Luther King and Anne Frank was born the same year, bro. Isn't that crazy, bro? I thought they were two totally different times, bro. But it's crazy to think about that they was born in the same time period, bro. But I ain't trying to waste too much of your time, man. Let's go ahead and hop straight into the video. Let's go straight
That
start.
Julius Caesar and Cleopatra banged? That's right. Julius Caesar and Cleopatra banged.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
All right, this is only posted below video.
Okay, so they obviously don't appreciate cool historical facts at Wendy's, but I know you guys appreciate them. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys a crazy list of historical facts that will make you question history. By this, I mean historical facts that you didn't know happened at the same time. For example, not only did Cleopatra and Julius Caesar live at the same time, they also interacted. Oh, and they interacted all right. It's just crazy to think because most people often associate
Oh yeah, I
ancient
know
Egypt
about this.
and
I
the
feel, I
Roman
learned
Empire
this
to be
like
completely different time
last
periods, but they were both such long-lasting
school semester,
civilizations
bro.
that there was a little overlap. And let me tell you, there
Bro.
was a little overlap. Speaking of overlap, did you know that Martin Luther King Jr. and Anne Frank were born
Oh yeah,
in the
this
same
one I was
year?
talking about.
I
This is the
didn't,
one I was
but
talking
even if
about.
you did, I think it's still interesting to
MLK
think
and Anne
about
Frank were
how
both the same,
such
born at the same
powerful
time.
timelines
Bro.
happened simultaneously. To me, this is super
That's
interesting
crazy. I'm not even
because
gonna
both
lie.
of their stories are well studied and brought up in the context of mid-20th
Bro, it would be
century
like
struggles with
dang near
justice.
100 years
Although,
old
even
right
though they were
now
born
if
in
they
the
were still
same year,
alive.
at least for myself personally, and I'm assuming others as well too, their stories are associated with completely different time frames when realistically the civil rights movement was only 10 years after World War II ended.
This is America.
Actually, only 9 years, which
Okay.
is just crazy. Speaking of crazy, this fact literally blew my mind when I learned it. If you are 52 years old, then you have lived for 1% of all of recorded history. This sounds fake, but let me break it down. Recorded
That's
human history
crazy.
only dates back
Wait,
to 5,000
wait,
to 5,200 years ago.
wait, what?
Break it down. Recorded human history only dates back to 5,000 to 5,200 years ago, which means that if you take 1% of all of recorded human history, that's 52 years. If you're 52 years old, or maybe you have a family member or a friend who's 52 years old, let them know that, hey, your life is 1% of all of recorded human history. It's just cool. This is almost more of a math equation than a historical fact, but I thought I'd throw it in because it's definitely a mind bender. Okay, next up, we have one of my favorite facts on this entire list. Did you know that sandwiches are only 14 years older than the United States of America? Yeah, the sandwich.
Wait, what? So you're saying people back then didn't used to have like no sort of sandwich or not, bro? Because I feel like bread should have been a thing like back then. I feel like bread, like I don't know, like I just feel like sandwiches was like I feel like sandwiches would have been a
As
thing.
we know it today, was invented in 1762 by John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich. This was just 14 years before the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776. Now, you could take this one of two ways. You could either be shocked how old sandwiches are, or you could be shocked how young sandwiches are. Personally, I thought sandwiches were way older. Like, I thought
Yeah, I
medieval
thought I
kings were
thought it was
eating on
like
sandwiches
yeah, I
on
thought
the regular.
kings and
For how
stuff were
simple
eating this stuff,
sandwiches are, I'm
bro.
honestly shocked it took this long for them to become a staple item, or even to be invented in their current form. On the other hand, though, I totally get why you may be surprised how old sandwiches are, especially that they're so old that they predate the United States of America, simply because sandwiches definitely seem like an American invention. Either way, though, I just think
Oh
it's
yeah,
hilarious
yeah.
that sandwiches are literally older than the United States of America. Also, let me know, did you think that sandwiches were older, like me, or did you think that sandwiches were more of a recent thing? Now,
I thought
speaking
they
of
were
things
older,
that are
honestly.
way more
I'm not
recent
even
than you
gonna
probably
lie.
think, the last execution by guillotine in France was in 1977. This is the same year that Star Wars
Wait. Wait.
Episode 4, A New Hope was released. Now,
Nah, hold on. So you're saying the last time somebody got publicly executed via guillotine was when Star Wars came out, episode 4. Wait, it's 1977. Wouldn't stuff like Mickey Mouse and stuff already be out by now? Looney Tunes or like stuff like that, bro? That's crazy. So people are still getting publicly executed when like big time shows and stuff are coming out. But that's kind of crazy. I'm not even gonna lie,
If you've
bro.
seen other videos on this topic, you might have already known this fact. But one small but critical detail that I've seen no one else mention is the fact that Christopher Lee, the actor that played Count Dooku in Star Wars Attack of the Clones, was literally there to witness that last execution.
He was wait, what?
Dooku in Star Wars Attack of the Clones
bro. He was there. The dude that played Count Dooku was there. Nah,
was
bro.
literally there to witness that last execution.
Nah.
So in case you were ever curious why Willy Wonka's dad, Dr. Wonka, was such a dick in the 2005 Willy Wonka movie, just realize that he saw some shit. Okay, next up, we have a crazy example of the development of technology. Okay, so for starters, there is only a 66-year gap between the Wright brothers' first ever powered flight and the moon landing. A little kind of bonus side point of this is that the first flight actually happened before the introduction of the car. The Wright brothers' first flight was in 1903, and the introduction of the Ford Model T, the car that revolutionized the automotive industry, happened 5 years later in 1908. Okay, going back to the evolution of aviation, it's so interesting to think about that if there was a little 10-year-old little hater, let's call him Little Hater Jr., if he was there 10 years old, 10-year-old little
Wait, let me go back
evolution
real
of
quick.
industry happened, the 66-year
Because I
gap
was not paying
between
attention, my
the
bad.
Wright brothers' first ever powered flight and the moon landing. A little kind of bonus side point of this is that the first flight actually happened before the introduction of the car. The Wright brothers' first flight was in 1903, and the introduction of the Ford Model T, the
Okay.
car that revolutionized the automotive industry, happened 5 years later in 1908. Okay, going back to the
Bro, hold on. Wait, so technically what he's saying is that planes were made before cars? Yeah, bro. We should have flying cars. We should have flying cars by now.
evolution of aviation,
Bro.
it's so interesting to
I
think
wish
about
we
that if
do
there
have
was
like
a
flying
little
cars though.
10-year-old little hater, let's call him
So
Little
this is almost
Hater
100
Jr.
years ago.
If he was there
Also,
10 years old watching the Wright brothers
wait,
flight,
it
he was
already
thinking
is
to
100
himself,
years ago.
they'll
What I'm
never
talking about.
fly. And then same hater little junior old senior now was watching the news in 1969, that 76-year-old kid would be losing his mind. Seriously though, imagine in your lifetime if you were able to witness that crazy evolution. It's amazing. You know what else is amazing? Jimi Hendrix
You have it listen, you type it in, and then you go dig
These
it.
ads, bro.
on the guitar. He was the groovy, LSD-taken, left-handed playing guitar wizard, and he's still regarded as one of the most influential guitar players
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, bro. And don't even like throw shade on me because I don't like I don't know who this is. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, bro. Uh I probably do know who this is. It's just that it's just not ringing a bell for me right now. Even looking at the picture, I just don't know who this is.
of all time. But this video is not on amazing musicians, so why do I bring up Jimi Hendrix? Because he literally died before Pablo Picasso, the Spanish painter, the guy who was born in 1881. To me, it's just so crazy
What?
to think that Pablo Picasso was around more recently than Jimi Hendrix. This reminds me a lot of the first example in this video with
Okay.
Martin Luther King Jr. and Anne Frank, where we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
two super influential figures who lived simultaneously, but no one ever makes reference of that. And I think in this example, it's even a bit more peculiar, seeing as they're both artists. I do think a large reason for this is because Pablo Picasso literally had 59 years to have a career before Jimi Hendrix was even born, which kind of separates their timelines a bit, but it's still just so interesting to think about that Pablo Picasso lived more recently than Jimi Hendrix. On the topic of living more recently than you might have assumed, did you know that the last living witness of Abraham Lincoln's assassination was literally on live television? Samuel J. Seymour was only a 5-year-old boy when he witnessed the assassination of Abraham Lincoln at the Peterson House in Washington, D.C.
Hold
Samuel
on.
appeared on the TV show I've Got a Secret in 1956, where he explains exactly what he saw. I'll link in the
Hold
description
on.
for you to watch after this video that clip of
When did Abraham die?
Samuel appeared on the TV show I've Got a Secret in 1956.
1956. So he was 5 when this happened. So this dude's mad old, bro. This dude at least right next to 100 years old, bro.
56, where he explains exactly what
At
he saw.
least,
I'll link
bro.
in the description for you to watch after
That's
this video
crazy.
that
Somebody
clip of the show
witnessed
because it's really
Lincoln die.
interesting. In this clip, Samuel
That's so
Seymour was
crazy, bro.
96 years old and honestly funny as hell. And unfortunately, he died later that year. I'd highly recommend watching that clip, but it's just so interesting to think about that there was somebody who witnessed the death of Abraham Lincoln on television almost 100 years later. While
That's
we're talking
crazy.
about Lincoln, I thought I'd throw in a little bonus. The first selfie ever recorded took place 22 years before Abraham Lincoln's presidency. That selfie was taken in 1839 by Robert Cornelius, and old Abe didn't become president until
I actually heard about this one that there's a photo. This photo's out was before Abraham Lincoln died. I actually heard about this.
1861. I could just imagine President Lincoln being elected, sitting down in the office, and then celebrating by taking a picture of himself and thinking, maybe I invented this. Maybe I should call this a self-me, a picture of me, myself, only to be regrettably informed by his staff that that wasn't the first self-me ever. There was actually one that happened 22 years ago and many since, but then his staff informed him that he could be the first to take a picture of something else. Wink, wink.
Yeah,
If
bro.
only they had OnlyFans back then. Anyways, the Golden Gate Bridge was completed in 1937. You know what else happened in 1937? The last Tasmanian tiger died in captivity. Now you might be asking, what is a Tasmanian tiger?
I was just about to
that's
say, I don't even know what
exactly
that
the point.
is.
It was an extremely rare species of animal that is now extinct. Well, I guess they weren't technically always rare, just more so near the end of their existence. But regardless, the Tasmanian tiger is basically a striped dingo type of thing that was from Australia and the mainland islands of Tasmania and New Guinea. I just thought this was interesting because nowadays we don't necessarily hear about too many animals going extinct that often. So to think that we had such a
Oh, yeah,
prevalent
true.
species go extinct at
But
the same
isn't the
time
polar
that we had
bear
such a
like?
technological feat
Isn't the polar
structured,
bear
to me
going
at least,
extinct?
interesting juxtaposition.
At
But
least
this
that's
is
what I
kind of
heard,
random, so I
at
threw this at
least.
the end, but I thought I'd mention it because I was like, doing this research, the Tasmanian tiger seems pretty dope. And I didn't know about it. If you guys know about it, this is probably dope. I didn't know about it, so I kind of just wanted an excuse to talk about the Tasmanian tiger. So here's a picture of a
Sure.
Tasmanian tiger. It's a pretty cool looking creature.
I think I've seen this photo before. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not 100%, bro.
But for now, that's all from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, you would probably love this video on screen right now. Historical.
Yeah, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video.